Hello, welcome to the Provo City Library podcast. My name is Erika Hill. I'm the Community Relations Manager.
I'm Carla Gordon, and I am the Library Director.
And we're here today with
Breanne Gilroy. I'm the Adult and Teen Services Manager here at the library.
Yes, thanks for joining us, Breanne. Today we are talking all about Libby. We're answering all your Libby questions that you didn't know you had. And by that, it's because you didn't ask them, but we're answering them anyway.
We get questions a lot. So we kind of pulled from what do people ask the most and what do we feel like people should ask the most? Because sometimes people don't ask the questions that would get them the information they need.
Right? So these are the answers to the questions that you should have been asking all along.
Yes.
So before we jump in, we're just going to clarify a couple terms. So when we say Libby, we mean the portal for checking out ebooks and digital audiobooks, magazines.
Mm-hmm. Often the app that you're using to listen to books or read them on your phone or device. So, yes.
Libby is run by a company called Overdrive.
And their previous app was Overdrive.
So we kind of use those terms interchangeably. You may too. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes we'll say Overdrive, sometimes we'll say Libby. That's not us talking about two different things. It's the same thing.
Also, if you go to their website, it says Beehive Library Consortium at the top, which is neither Libby nor Overdrive, but it is still the same thing.
Yes.
Except for the Beehive Library is our consortium.
Yes.
So
what is the consortium?
So the consortium is a group of libraries that have gotten together, pooled their money, and made a collection that everyone has access to. So it's run by the state library, which we really appreciate. Every library puts in a certain amount of money, and part of it just goes to the consortium. And then the consortium does the majority of the purchasing for all of it. And then each library can spend some of the money they put in, but also more of the money, they put that in and buy more books. But if we spend the money on it, our patrons get those copies first, if that makes sense. So the consortium is just what it says. It's a consortium of libraries that are working together so that they have better access. And we really do use the consortium is it still about like 40% of the checkouts are things we've purchased, and 60% of the things checked out through Libby for the Provo Library are things that the state library or the consortium has purchased. So we really rely heavily on that. And because of that, for every checkout on Libby for us, it costs us about 35 cents, which is way, way low. A lot of other things, other places and other companies that sell online audiobooks, it'll be $3 to $5 per checkout. So because we do it through Libby, we have this consortium, it makes it so much more affordable for us to have the amazing collection that we have.
Yeah, that actually does bring up a good point though. In everything that we're talking about with Libby and our spending, something that actually my 11-year-old son just asked me, because I said something about like, oh, I'm on hold for a book on Libby so I can listen to it. And he said, Mom, it's on the computer. Like, why would you have to wait? Because he understands waiting for a physical book, but like, why would you have to wait? Why can't I just download it? And that is actually the crux of a lot of people's sort of misunderstanding about Libby and libraries, is this idea that like, well, I can buy an ebook for $2, $4, $5. So why should I have to wait for any copy? Because like, come on, library, you can do this. But Breanne, as the one who purchases most of our digital books, do we pay $4, $5, $6 for an ebook?
Definitely not.
No.
It is unfortunately a lot more than that. Often, many times more that cost. And I will get purchase requests for books on Overdrive or on Libby. And sometimes people will make a comment with the request where they're saying, oh, it's probably less expensive as an ebook, so I'm requesting it as an ebook to like save you guys money. And unfortunately, I have to contact those people and say, actually, I'm so sorry, but this book in particular is quite expensive. And you know, there's some things we need before we can buy it. So
the print would be way cheaper.
Yes, oddly enough. So yeah, it's interesting because that was kind of a controversy when the when Overdrive was getting started about publishers were setting prices a certain way, and libraries were really struggling with that. And on the publisher side of things, you know, they have print books going into libraries, and those will circulate a certain number of times, and the book gets damaged and gets moved out of the collection, and the library has to repurchase it. And that was kind of some of their thinking going into this is, you know, like a digital file lasts forever, but, you know, if you bought it from us as a print book, that wouldn't last forever. And so for them,
I'm going to give them a tiny pass.
For that logic.
Like,
that
maybe
logic.
not like the pass they're asking for, but
I
but
feel
you
like
can see.
But the thing is like you have to buy it through these different companies. You have to, like, you're kind of locked in to buying it from the publishers in these ways, and they, I feel like, have made choices that I don't agree with. But they're delightful people that I don't agree with.
But, you know, I think that was some of the reasoning that went into the pricing models that they have on there. I'm not crazy about them either, especially as a person doing most of the purchasing for our collection. I'd like to talk about the different kinds of like pricing models, purchasing models that they have for us, because it's a little bit interesting.
Give us a little bit of a like price point too, because we say way more expensive, but I think like as we look at these different like kind of the average cost, because I think it's interesting, and it does change. Like it has changed over the years. So if you listen to this podcast in 3 years, it may have changed. But for right now, like
Probably for the worse. I
Probably
mean,
it's
better. It could
Sure.
get better.
It won't.
Maybe
Okay.
this podcast will change the hearts and minds,
Part of all the publishers and
as it often does.
sure.
Okay, when
Okay.
I'm purchasing, I'm usually looking at 3 different kinds of purchases that I can make with a title. So one is called, is it one cost?
One
or-
copy.
One copy,
one user.
One user. And we pay a certain price for that book, and it can check out one checkout at a time. So one person can check it out. The nice thing about those is that they don't expire. So when we purchase it, we have it as long as possible, which is great.
Kind of how people would think we would have a digital thing.
Yes,
just forever.
exactly. There's another kind of,
And sorry,
oh, go ahead.
the price point on a one cost. One
Well,
copy,
I was
one
gonna-
user. Oh, okay.
I was going to say the models and then the
Okay.
price points. 'Cause
Okay.
It will turn your hair gray.
Okay. Nobody will keep listening afterwards. We want to get as much information in first. Okay, go ahead.
The next one that I look at is called metered access, and that works 2 different ways. It can be, it means basically that you have it for a certain amount of time or a certain number of checkouts. So often it's 12 months or 24 months, and then it goes away, and that money that you spent on it is just gone. Or you have a certain number of checkouts, which is usually 26, I think, which is the number that publishers came up with because they were like, that's how much libraries check out books, which is not true.
Sometimes they'll double the price and give it to you for 52.
Yes,
But
which
Sure.
has its own logic, doesn't it? There's one more, which is called like 100 concurrent checkouts, which means I can pay a certain amount of money and then we get 100 checkouts of that book. So if I have 70 people on hold for the book, all 70 of them get the book right away, which
lucky day.
if you've ever wondered, if you've ever had a hold on Libby and it said it was going to be months away and then you get it 2 weeks later, it's because I found a 100 concurrent checkout model,
you
which
have
is great.
Breanne Gilroy personally to thank for jumping in that hold queue.
I accept thank you cards at my address here.
Uh-huh.
No. Okay, so pricing. It varies. If we're talking like bestseller that just came out by James Patterson, $100 for one copy of the book. And often with those really big authors, publishers, it is a metered access copy. So I'm paying $109 for 12 months of a metered access copy, one copy that can check out one at a time. That is exorbitant. That is a prohibitively expensive copy of the book. I struggle with those. Sometimes it's not always $109. There's like a middle range, and I would say the middle range is about like $60, $70, $80 for one copy of the book.
It's so sad when you're like, oh, it's inexpensive at $60.
It's not the craziest. But yeah, sometimes that middle range is, $70. And if I have one person requesting that title, that's really hard for us to be able to afford $70 for one checkout. So often we're not able to get those.
That's when you say, would you like it as a print book?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There are some publishers, often they're local publishers, they're smaller publishers, and their books can be, $10, $15, which is fantastic. I'm always excited to see those. And often those are for those one copy, one use titles. So that book I can spend $10 on, and I know it's going to last as long as we want it, really. So,
but it's another benefit of being part of consortium, because even if only one person in Provo wants it, you've got all of Davis and Weber County and like most of the state. And so if you can get a group of 20 people that want, like we get more copies of things, we're able to have access to more titles because of that consortium. And there's such a larger population that's using it. So.
Yeah. When I first started purchasing, I thought that those 100 concurrent copies was like a bad deal. I was like, oh, you're spending like $100 and then that money just goes away forever. And I thought it was bad. And I have changed my mind because we do get titles that are very, very popular. And it's really hard to see a hold list of 70, 80, 100 or more people. I hate that too. I don't want you guys to be on hold forever for your books either. So I get really excited now when I see those concurrent use models because I can purchase it. I know that 100 people are going to be very happy, even if it's just, even if it's just 70 people who are on hold for the book and I buy 100 concurrent copies, 30 of those just go into available. So if you're searching for a book, always look for what's available now, because sometimes you'll find those titles come through that I bought most of them for holds, but there's a few left over, and they're often very popular titles. So it's always exciting to see those.
Yeah. I am going to interject my holiday story here, but I went home and spent the holiday. This is right after Thanksgiving, but with my family, and my sister just told me how she had just read the terrible book. And I said, why? Why did you read a terrible book? And she said, well, I couldn't find anything available on Libby. And she lives in Wyoming, so it's a different consortium and a different group and all of that. But I was just like, give me your phone. And I sat down and I just did a search of everything they had that was available now and sorted it by popularity. And so popular titles went to the top, and I just went through, you'll happy to know, stopped at 100. But I was able to find like so many good books. So you have to sometimes scroll through a few pages to find what you're looking for, but I'm happy to do that to anyone's phone. It was so much fun. I was just like, she'd love this and she'd love this. It was really fun.
Carla will be your book concierge anytime.
She had gone to bed by the time I finished, and so I had to sneak into her room like, here's your phone back. We'll talk tomorrow.
That'll be fairy. Slide it
Anyways,
under the pillow.
Going to that, what's available now, you will find super awesome books that you wouldn't think would be available now, and you can stumble upon some really great things. So anyways.
Well, let's talk about how I make decisions about buying books based on all these weird models and how often we have them and how long we get them for. We're buying for holds. I am looking at hold lists. So a lot of times, sometimes we get comments on our surveys or things where people are like, you made a decision about what went on Libby, and I'm questioning that decision, which is natural. I get it. But often I did not make a decision. I looked at how many holds that had, and I bought for the holds. So every week I go through and I actually just organize our list of books that are available by how many holds they have. And then I go down the list and I purchase until I run out of money, which is much sooner than I would like it to be. The general hold ratio that I'm looking at is one copy for every 6 holds. So I'm trying to buy one copy for every 6 holds that are on things. But, when I get down to the bottom of the list where it's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 holds, often I've run out of money before I can buy those copies. It's a little frustrating. And then we do have a limit, an upper limit of how many books we can purchase total, because sometimes we get hundreds of holds on a title. So Carla, I think you should explain why we have a cap on how many copies we purchase.
So we cap at about 10, which is just that one thing can be really popular. And so right now I could just spend thousands of dollars making sure that people aren't waiting a long time on that one. But if you spend all of that on this one title, then all of these other people who are looking for books that are popular but not as popular aren't going to get a copy as soon. And then after the fury has calmed down, we now have 30 copies of this book and we really only need 1 or 2.
It's like when I walked into, I'm not going to name a library, but it wasn't this one,
Excellent.
in a city that I was living in, just to see like what was up. And I walked in, and it was about a year after the Twilight series had concluded. Oh. But they still had an entire bank, like probably 1, 2, 3 shelves full of Breaking Dawn.
Wow.
Because that was so popular and everybody wanted it. But you just don't need actually 50 copies of Breaking Dawn long term.
It was. You can justify it somewhat when they are $10 to $15 a piece. Yeah. It's really hard to justify that when they're $70 to $100. And so that's kind of, we've tried, and it's when the hold list gets really long and we only have 10 copies, like that's when we pray for that 100 concurrent users.
Yes.
So like we pray for that. But some publishers just don't do it. And so we're like, well, so sorry. It's going to be a while before you get that because it is so incredibly popular. But we're going to talk a little bit about ways that we can use the collection together and help each other out a little bit more. I'd like to talk about that later.
One other
note to self.
One other question we've gotten is, do titles ever go away out of the collection? And not if we can help it. There's a few situations in which a title will go away. Occasionally they do get pulled from the platform. Sometimes we just run out of our limit. You know, if it's a metered access title, sometimes we just hit the time that we've run into and there's not enough holds for us to purchase another copy. Or sometimes publishers even do pull those copies when they hit those time limits for whatever reason. Sometimes it's a situation where we bought a copy of it and then it was a copy that is going to last, like one of those one copy, one use books. And then it gets pulled and we can't buy more copies, but suddenly we get these hold lists that are crazy. You know, like the book might get talked about on TV or on the radio, and suddenly everybody in Utah is trying to get a copy of it. And that hold list gets so long that it's going to be like years before a user would be able to check it out. And
if we can't buy more copies,
we can't buy any more copies to help satisfy the hold. So sometimes those titles actually go away out of the collection just because it can be aggravating for all those people waiting.
Because is there a limit on, like, can you have a one copy, one use and a metered access copy, or can you only have like one or the other? But basically you're saying like, no, keeping this one copy, one use in perpetuity, you're just going to be sad that it's taking up your holds queue.
Yeah, we'll satisfy maybe 20 people every year.
Yeah.
But there's 100 or sometimes it gets up above, 100-200 people, and that just, is aggravating for all those people.
So none of you get it.
And really, like,
this is why we can't have nice because publishers pull a book.
Well, and I often contact those people and I try to give them alternatives. So we have the book in our print collection. We have a book on CD. Could I interlibrary loan it for you and get it another way? I'm trying to find a way to get that book into their hands that's going to be much faster than if it stayed, on hold on Libby forever. So, yeah.
Cool.
Should we talk about tips for using Libby?
Yes.
Yeah.
Since I kind of mentioned mine,
You
and
did.
I don't know that we put it on the list, but when you finish a book, like returning it early is one thing that is really valuable to the whole community using it. Because if you just let it sit there, but it was really great and you read it in 1 week and you have it for 2 more weeks, like you're just slowing down everybody else's wait list. And so I encourage people, like, everybody do your part. It's like Be Kind, Rewind. It's like Be Kind, return it as soon as you finish it.
Especially because some of those copies have a time limit.
Yeah.
I can only buy it for 12 or 24 months. And so if you finished it and it's just sitting in your collection, your Libby collection, that's less time that other people would have to read the book. So return those books.
Return them.
Yes.
I also, I'm going to admit that I was at one point in my life kind of a bad Libby user, because I didn't realize, and it's hard because you don't know if you're using a metered copy or whatever. But if you're checking out a copy that has a certain number of checkouts and then you don't read it, You just,
we
you don't
can't get
care about
mad at-
that.
I mean, I do. I think that's unfortunate, but it's
Yeah.
I
But
mean-
now, but a great thing, I think that this is why Overdrive, one of the reasons they just changed their hold suspension thing, is so that you don't have, like, you can stay in the hold queue, but you don't have to check it out if you don't, like, you don't have to start that clock on when you have to read it if you're not ready to read it yet. And so hopefully there's fewer irresponsible people like me that check out Overdrive books, charge the library money. It's like my children at dinner.
Oh, well, there's that.
We librarians never check out books and don't read them and bring them back 2 weeks later.
It's fine.
We're never guilty of that.
No, whatever. I go to Libby jail all the time. Literally all the time.
But what do you mean by Libby jail?
Oh, by Libby jail, I mean that
Just print copies.
if you have something going on with your library account that ends up being over $10, like perhaps you've had a book for 12 weeks that is disappeared under a bed, your access to Libby will be temporarily cut off. And Libby won't tell you, hey, dummy, go turn. It just says, there's a problem with your library account. Please talk to your. And you go in, and that's when somebody will say, hey, dummy, turn that book. No one at the
Except
library
we
will
don't say
ever.
that.
No one at the library will ever call you a dummy. They might call me a dummy, and they're allowed to. But yeah. But as soon as you turn it in,
Libby's back on again.
it's back on. It's instantaneous. I can testify.
And
It's
you can still listen
instantaneous.
to something that's already checked out while in Libby jail. We don't shut off.
Sometimes.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
If it like has to refresh for some reason,
Interesting.
sometimes I've had it. It's like
It's brutal.
I am 2 hours away from finishing the Book of Doors.
Go
I
find-
must
Go find that book on tarantulas.
go find Bad Kitty Takes a Bath.
It's fine.
You actually mentioned something a minute ago about checking out a book and reading it in a week and then still having a couple of weeks left. But that's actually something that a lot of people don't know they can do with your Libby account is you can change how long your checkout time is for titles. So actually Libby defaults everybody to 2-week checkouts. So a handy trick to know is that you can go into the settings and change it so that you just default to automatically checking out for 3 weeks at a time and give yourself a little wiggle room if you're like me and you take longer than 7 days like these two to check out books and read them all the way. So
It depends on
the
how
tip.
dirty my house is. I'll get through a couple books.
How dirty the
and
book
cleaning.
Or how dirty the book is.
Fast forward a lot of that.
Also, keep an eye on formats on Libby. If you have Kindle and you really enjoy reading through the Kindle app or on a Kindle device, there are Kindle formats that you can find. And you can actually do a search just for those formats on Libby. You can set that in the advanced search and just look for Kindle titles. I usually just use the Libby app these days because it works so similarly. But there's still some Kindle fans out there. I know there are. So, that's also a good option.
And then deep search.
Yes.
Deep search, if you don't know about deep search, you should know about deep search. So when you search for something, as long as the results list isn't too big, when you go, there's like a little hamburger menu thing next to the search options. Click on that and it'll go in and it'll give you a button that says deep search. And that looks for things that we don't own and things that, is it just things we don't own? Yeah, I think
That
so,
are
mostly.
available on Libby.
They're
like,
available
that we
to
could
purchase.
own, but we don't.
So a lot of times when I'm reading reviews for books that are coming out, like it'll be something that's not going to come out for another couple months, I'll go on there, deep search it, find it, and then you can hit the
Notify me.
Notify Me. Breanne, tell us about Notify Me.
So Notify Me is a button you can hit in the app on a book that we don't own yet. And what happens is when we do purchase the book, either us or the consortium, then you get notified and you don't get put on hold automatically. You just get a notification saying, hey, they bought it. Go put it on hold. And you want to keep an eye on your phone, turn on all the notifications from Libby, because if you miss that and you see it a day or two later and then you go to put it on hold, there might be some people who saw it before you and
Thousands in line.
well,
put
that
it on hold.
happens, but also keep in mind that when they buy the first copy, it is usually only 1 or 2 copies, and that's usually the consortium copies. And that's when then Breanne will see how many people in our library have placed it on hold, and then
Yes.
we'll buy more copies. And so don't be too discouraged if at that very beginning, because it's usually just one copy and the whole state is swarming it.
That's actually a question I've gotten is like, can I request that the library purchase more copies of a certain title? And the way that you do that is putting it on hold, and tell your friend to put it on hold and your mom to put it on hold if she lives in Provo. Because again, I'm looking at what those hold numbers are. So if I see holds on
Just
it,
make sure you put a hold on first and then tell your friends to put a hold on so that you make sure
so that you're ahead of them in line.
This is like at book club when we're like, we're picking a book, and then everybody's like,
It's a race.
get it first.
I'm second in line.
The other thing to know about the deep search option is that that's kind of your key to know if we have the ability to purchase the book ever at some point in the future. So if you're interested in a title and you want Provo Library to get it as a ebook or a downloadable audiobook, go look for it in the deep search. If it doesn't show up there at all, it does not exist on Libby, and I cannot purchase it. So actually, I get a lot of purchase requests for lots of titles, and so often just the first thing I do is go and see if it's even available to purchase, and so often it's not, and I have to tell them, the publisher didn't let us buy it. I'm sorry.
I know one of my favorite audiobooks to recommend to people is Project Hail Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And it's an Audible exclusive.
I think I get a request for audiobook of Project Hail Mary maybe once a month, maybe twice a month. And often people are like, why haven't you bought this yet?
I want to.
And it's really because the publisher wants to keep Audible as the only option available. They're making more money that way. I get it. But
also,
we
I
can't get
believe
it.
there will be eternal consequences for people.
There's a special circle of the Inferno just for people who refuse to put things on Libby.
Yes.
And it's filled with Baby Shark on repeat. Just only that.
Also, whoever came up with the metered access thing. Anyways, whatever. It's fine. We love publishers.
Thanks for the books.
But I can't get Project Hail Mary as an audiobook. So
I know.
I did Black Friday had like a Amazon Audible trial run, and I listened to Project Hail Mary that way because
It is so good on
It was
audio.
great.
We're so
On audio.
sorry.
I know,
If you're going to read that book, you should really listen to it. It's really phenomenal.
But we also
Not
do
from the
have
library. Oh, we
the
have
book
it on
on
CD. We do have it on CD.
And we have CD players that you can check
And
out.
we do. They don't speed up to 2 times listening
No,
speed.
that is a thing.
But you can listen to it.
You can listen to it.
You can.
And it might be better at not 2 times because there is the music. It's fine.
That was a good impression. Good job.
Excellent at alien impressions.
Are there any other Libby questions we can answer?
Did we get all?
I think we got everything on my list.
We get everything.
No, I think that just, we love it when people use it. The more you use it, we were going to say, that was one thing, just that our budget. Our budget is finite, but we do try to give the same amount of money to the downloadables as the print according to percent. Like, so right now, 1/3 of all of our checkouts are downloadables. And so 1/3 of our budget goes to downloadables. So as that grows, it will also grow.
Mm-hmm.
And did we mention that so the whole consortium, Provo Library, Provo makes up 10% of the checkouts in that consortium.
Of the whole consortium.
So we use it a lot, and we're getting our money's worth.
Yeah, Provo has big readers, which is
It
great.
is
Which is
fantastic.
Cool. Okay, that was the only thing.
Okay, recommendations.
Recommendations. Do you want to start?
Okay, I will, because
Okay.
I just read this great book
read
by
this book.
Sangu Mandanna.
It's
She
cute.
did a first book. She's done 2 books in this series so far. So the first book was The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, which was adorable. And I just read her next book, which is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping.
Are these books connected?
I was about to say, the nice thing about it is you can read either one, and you don't have to have read the first book.
Because I didn't know it was a sequel. And
I know. I actually
just
just
read-
figured that
But
out.
they're the same character. They're similar
So from the
characters.
same world.
The same world. Oh, okay.
And so you'll hear like a little bit about like other things happening, but it's really not relevant to the story. It's a cozy fantasy, so it's about like modern day witches living in Great Britain, and they're just adorable. There's like an inn, and it's a magical inn, and one of the rooms it rains tea every Sunday, and they have to like go around and fix things in it, and it's just adorable. The main character was a very powerful witch, and she used all of her magic helping to revive her caretaker, essentially, her kind of like nanny who became a mother figure.
And accidentally a rooster.
And accidentally a rooster who was nearby to the nanny. They both got revived. And so she has a skeletal rooster that runs around. But the main story takes place 15 years later, and she's struggling because almost all of her magic is gone, and she's trying to keep her cute little inn going. And it is just adorable. It makes you feel good. It was just kind of a breath of fresh air that I needed right now. So it was great.
It's a cute one.
Yeah.
What about you?
I had to write, it had a long subtitle.
Oh.
I just read 1929, Inside the Greatest Crash in Wall Street History and How It Shattered a Nation by
just a
Andrew
bit of light.
Sorkin.
Just a bit of light reading.
It was a breath of fresh air. No, this was really good. So this is the guy that wrote Too Big to Fail, like 15 years ago. Like, it's been quite a while, but he researched this, and he tells it through different individuals. So it's a very personal nonfiction, kind of like little biographies, sort of. So you can see like the whole picture of what led up to the crash, what happened during the crash, and then what happened after the crash, especially to these people that were playing the stock market. Like, and you know, I think we look back and we're like, well, they were all terrible people, but like some of them were making decisions that were trying. Anyway, it's very interesting. It's a little scary that it kind of reminds me of some things that are happening with the financial markets currently. But he's a really good writer, and it read really fast. And if you love nonfiction and history, it's a great choice.
Nice.
I'm trying to think what I've read that I love. I will say this. I don't feel like this is so. For years, I feel like people have been telling me that I should read the Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon.
Are you listening to them?
Not yet.
Oh, I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah, you're in number 4, right?
Number 4.
I just started number 2.
Yeah.
And they are these unassuming books. Like, their covers are so just
Plain.
Like, it's not, anything. They're delightful.
They are.
I'm just going to tell you they're delightful. And I'm not even that into like Regency period stuff. Like, it's fine. But no, like, this character is feisty and funny, and like I'm in a part in volume 2 now where she's like passing notes back and forth through a wall about mice. And I don't know, it's very funny. She's very funny. Just this orphan woman entitled to things that are being taken from her, and she's just not taking it. I love it.
I love it too, because on Overdrive, I can buy 100 concurrent copies of the Unselected Journal. So if you have been on hold on Libby for it and it came in suddenly, it's because I could buy a whole bunch of copies. So keep putting them on hold so I can keep justifying buying all those copies.
They're also, it's fast. I mean, the first
So
one,
fast. Oh
the
my
first
gosh.
one is like 3 hours, and I listen at 1.75. So it doesn't sound like
2 hours.
It just sounds like a person talking fast.
2 times does not sound like
I know.
that. Okay.
I know.
Just
sometimes
the
I
alien talk.
sometimes I
That's
read things at 2, but mostly it's 1.75.
I feel touched.
You're doing all the impressions today. The Project Hail Mary voice.
I mean, what am I here for if not for that?
It's a very valuable contribution. Thank you.
Anyway,
That's good.
check things out on Libby. We're going to keep buying things on Libby. Let us know any other questions about Libby we can answer. We'd be happy to answer them in the comments or on another episode.
Sure.
And we'll see you next time.